Hey guys, this is Dre and welcome to my Metroid Zero Mission playthrough. And this isn't necessarily like a pro speedrun or anything, but I guess it is, sort of a speedrun in a sense. I mean, I beat the game in less than an hour, game time at least. I think this video is actually over an hour long. Actually, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's over an hour long, but the actual game time shown at the end of the game is less than an hour. So, during this video, I'm going to talk about, well, the gameplay and a few other things, just kind of random, but there will be a few other subjects in this video as well. But first thing I want to talk about is, why is there commentary in this video, and isn't it kind of strange that you randomly decide to commentate? Well, I thought it was kind of a time for a change of pace, and if you know where that quote is from, I did not mean to do it on purpose, but I just figured maybe it was time to try something different. I mean, most of my videos are pretty silent, just pure gameplay, but I think different kind of videos actually call for a different style of uploading. Like some videos are better with no commentary, and then there's some videos that are pretty good with commentary. And for me, I have my own preferences, and basically what I would do is would I want to hear commentary in a video like this? And if I would, then I would record commentary over it. And there's a few examples, like if you've been following my channel for a while, I uploaded Catherine around last year in July, around the time the game came out, and that game is heavily story driven, and basically if I was watching a video for the story, I really wouldn't want to necessarily hear someone else talking over it. I just don't really like watching videos like that if I'm watching the video solely for the story. And nothing against, guys that record commentary over games like that. I mean, they do a good job, and I've actually watched a lot of videos like that in the past. It's just, if I want just the story, I prefer just to see the raw gameplay and not necessarily somebody else talking. And there are some people out there that just when there's like a cutscene, a very important cutscene, it's just like they keep talking. They're like, oh my god, and all this stuff, and it's just like, come on. I mean, we want to hear the story. We don't necessarily want to hear all that. And again, no offense to the people that record stuff like that. I mean, some of you guys are great. I mean, if I'm rewatching a game, like if I was watching Catherine again after I played it, then yeah, it's cool to watch commentary, because it can be pretty entertaining, because you've already seen the game before, so it's not like they're interrupting anything or anything of that nature. So that's cool. But why does this video have commentary? Well, Metroid Zero Mission doesn't, well, it has a story. It definitely has a story, but this game is mostly just pure gameplay, and there's nothing really for me to interrupt here. There are a few cutscenes, but they aren't really that important. I mean, they do tell the story. That's pretty much the only way this game tells the story, but the cutscenes are just pretty small in this game. They're not like extensive cutscenes with voice acting or anything like that. It's just random cutscenes, basically. Just showing Samus ride down an elevator. You see Mother Brain look at her, and that's pretty much it. So I figured a game like this would be the perfect game to just have commentary over it, because it wouldn't really ruin the flow of the game, so it's not necessarily a bad idea. Alright, so about this speedrun, to be honest, I'm not really too happy with it. It's just there are so many just small mistakes in this speedrun that it just really irritates me after watching it again, and I'll get into that later. But there are a few moments where I'm just really happy with what I did, and you'll probably hear me just go yes, after I see something that I'm really proud of. But I'm not necessarily going for like low items. I mean, you saw me get that missile pack right there. That wasn't necessarily needed, but if there's an item that's in the way and it doesn't take too much time to get, then I'll go ahead and get it. And you saw me get the long beam at the beginning, and I know you can skip that item, but I decided to just get it since it's not necessarily a low item percentage speedrun, like I said earlier. And I think there's a missile pack right here. I mean, that missile pack, it's pretty much in a way, so there's no reason not to get it. And it really helps to have missiles later on. So, items that I get during this playthrough, I believe the items that I skip are the wave beam, the screw attack, and I believe the power bombs. Yeah, the power bombs, because those are at the end. So, basically, I don't skip that much, but I get a lot of items out of order. And you haven't seen that yet, since the beginning path is a bit linear, but you will see me get a few items a bit earlier than I'm supposed to down the road. And right now I'm about to get bombs, and making pretty decent time so far. I mean, not really bad at all. Then I believe I'm gonna get the missile pack on the left here, which kind of costs me some time because I do screw it up a little bit, like right here, where I just don't go up for some reason, hesitating. And I don't think I get over 50% at the end of this run, 50% of the items. I'm not sure what my percentage was at the end. We'll find out later. These bugs, I really hate these things. I don't know if you're supposed to just place bombs rapidly just to get rid of them, or are you supposed to, you know, do it a little bit more carefully or what. But you'll notice some, like, really funny moments with those bugs later on when I go up to get the Varia Suit after I defeat Ridley. Alright, so now that I have the bombs, I'm gonna go back down to Norfair, and that's where I start to get some of the items early. Alright, so let's talk about Metroid. Some people saw me upload a playthrough of Metroid Fusion a while back, and I uploaded that mostly for a friend, but at the same time, I really enjoy that game. In fact, Metroid Fusion is probably my favorite 2D Metroid game, and this game, Metroid Zero Mission, closely follows it. I mean, it's really close. I just prefer Metroid Fusion gameplay-wise, and nothing against Zero Mission. This is a really great game too. It's probably it does a lot of things better than Fusion. Like the thing I didn't like about Fusion was that it was a little too linear. I mean, you had to follow a computer that Samus ironically names Adam, and basically you just follow the computer. He tells you where to go. He doesn't necessarily tell you how to get there, but there's mostly one set path to get there, so you're not really going to have too much trouble. I mean, the first time I did play, I did get lost a few times. I remember, which area was it? I'm not sure if it was Sector 5 or 6. One of the sectors, I couldn't find this, like, invisible wall that you're supposed to go through, and it really got me stuck for a while, and I just couldn't get through, but eventually I found out how to get there. But Metroid Fusion, it's not a bad game. I mean, obviously, since it's my favorite, but it's just really linear compared to all the other Metroid games, with the exception of Other M, which is probably the most linear Metroid game ever made. But I'll get to that later if I talk about Metroid Other M. But Zero Mission is, of course, a remake of the very first Metroid game, just using more 3D elements from Metroid Fusion and gameplay elements as well, which is pretty cool. I mean, the first Metroid was a good game, and obviously Metroid Zero Mission is a lot easier than the first Metroid because of the changes, such as all the power-ups like wall jumping, and you're able to shoot diagonally. You couldn't do that in the original Metroid. You could only shoot up, left, and right. I believe you couldn't shoot down at all. And basically, the first Metroid was a very difficult game, especially if you were playing it for the first time, because it was just so different from other games out there at the time. Especially the very beginning, where the Morph Bomb power-up is to the left. And it's pretty funny because most players at the time were so used to just moving to the right, but the Morph Ball power-up at the very beginning of the game is to the left, and you actually need it to progress pretty much anywhere during the game. So it was kind of a cool way to teach players that this game is different. You're probably going to need to start heading left sometimes. It was the first game that was about exploration, and I love that about the Metroid series, exploration. And my favorite game of the Metroid series is Metroid Prime, because the exploration factor in that game is just amazing. I just loved the environments, and pretty much everything about that game was just amazing. I mean, the first time you play it and you land on the Talon overworld, it's just such an amazing experience for first timers. And I don't know how many times I'm going to say amazing in one video, but moving on. The first time you play Metroid Prime, you just land on a planet and you just realize that this planet is huge and there's so much to explore. And after you play, you're just so satisfied because you actually explored all of those places, and in the end it was just really rewarding because you backtracked through all these places and you found pretty much everything that was to be found throughout that world, and it's just really satisfying. Especially when you come to a place and you realize that you need a certain item to get through and you don't have it yet, but then you go back later when you had that item and you're like, oh, that's how that works. Just stuff like that just really adds on to the experience. And going back to Metroid Zero Mission, well, actually going back to the speedrun, you probably saw me fail earlier after I got the power grip when I was trying to wall jump up that one wall on the left, and I just couldn't do it for some reason. That was probably the biggest fail. The biggest fail of this playthrough so far. I just really couldn't stand that part. Honestly, I was tempted to just restart, but I was like, nah, I'll just keep going. And this room right here, just in past playthroughs, has really messed me up when I'm just trying to speedrun through the game, because I don't save, as you've noticed. And that room, I fell in the lava so many times and died, and I had to start all over, which isn't really too bad. It's only about 14 minutes in, but at the same time, it's just like, wow, I actually died there, and I have to start over. So now I have the Ice Beam, and from here, I'm about to start to get a few items early. And I believe the first one I get is the high jump, which will be shown later. And this part is kind of a fail also. I really messed up a lot of jumps in this section. But at least I make up for it later in the speedrun when I have a few other tricks that I do. And I really wish you could skip these little cutscenes, especially at least after you've beaten the game. I mean, I already know where to go, and actually I'm not even going that way since I'm gonna skip the first boss. Well, I'm not skipping him, but I'm doing Ridley first during this playthrough. Now, let's see what happens next. Oh yeah, that part right there, I was like, why can't I move? But then I realized that there wasn't enough height for me to just stand up, so I had to go into Morph Ball. Alright, here, I kind of forgot exactly where the missile power-up was, and I was looking for it, and I was like, wow, where is it? But I just had to shoot a little bit higher, and there it is. Alright, this room coming up, this room right here, is pretty much the key to speedrunning this game, and I'm not joking. You can pretty much get any item early if you use this little trick. Now you just freeze this guy, jump on him, and use a missile on this hidden block. And you're basically in this hidden room right here, and you're gonna have to wall jump to navigate this room. And you jump down this long shaft with just the longest fall in the game. It's so funny to look at. And I pretty much just skipped an entire corridor, and I can go straight to Ridley from here. But first, I'm going to get the high jump. And I don't actually need the high jump at this point, but I just always get it just for good measure here. And here you can see I'm really bad at wall jumping for some reason. I haven't played this game in a while, which is a pretty bad excuse to use, but just pointing that out there. But later in the speed run, I'm wall jumping really consistently. And I'm not sure if it's faster to just try to run through this hallway or to kill all these guys, but oh well. And now we have the high jump. Ridiculously early. I could go back to the beginning and just get the Varia Suit here, since I have the high jump. And actually, I don't even need the high jump to get the Varia Suit, which is the funny thing. But I'm not that good at bomb jumping, so I really can't do that stuff yet. Now that I have the high jump, I can go straight to Ridley, which I'm going to do now, before fighting a small mini-boss. And this room right here is pretty much spam missiles. Spam missiles and run straight. And it works. Definitely works. Alright, this little mini-boss here, it was really easy with the high jump because you don't even need to freeze this, you don't need to freeze this guy to even hit his weak points with missiles. But if you do freeze him, you can hit his weak points a little bit easier. And you probably can tell already, but I actually did not finish off the right side of his body. And that cost me a little bit of time, because I realized it later, and I had to go over and finish him off. But I think it was only one more missile. And he's dead. Not hard at all. So, move on, go straight to Ridley. Small cutscene. Now, in the future, I'm probably gonna do more of these commentaries depending on what game I'm playing. I believe I should have really did one on Metroid Fusion. I really wish that I commentated over that game, but oh well, not a big deal. There's a first time for everything. Okay, this part kind of worried me. As you see, I only have 2 missiles, and I missed the weak point with the first one. But in the end, on my last missile, I hit the hidden block. And this is a small shortcut that makes you skip pretty much all of Ridley's lair. Just go straight. Basically, you're going through his lair backwards right now. If you haven't played the game and you haven't really went through this yet. And coming up is a jump that I just really despise. I mess up on this jump half of the times that I go through the speedrun. And actually, I do mess up on the second attempt when I'm trying to go back, but it's not that much of a time waster. And here, I'm like praying, I'm like, please, why won't anybody in this room drop missiles? I need missiles, and there's one finally. But I don't think it really matters at this point, because I get to recharge my missiles right before I fight Ridley. And I'm gonna come back into this room later. Alright, this jump right here is the one I was talking about earlier. I'm either jumping too late or jumping too soon, but this time I get it perfectly. I get the missile and I land on the other side. And I'm about to get super missiles early. This is one of the ways to get them early, instead of fighting the really easy but annoying flying giant bee boss. And now I have super missiles, which will really come in handy. And will make Kraid pushover when I get to that boss. And here you see I try to make the jump, and you'll see what happens. Yep, I don't jump early enough. I jump way too late and I end up falling all the way down. But it's no big deal, because I'm going back into that room right now anyway. And I'm gonna grab a quick energy tank down here. But it would have really saved me some time if I made that jump. But oh well. This is actually surprisingly the best. At the end of this run, when my time is displayed, I believe it was a new record. This was my best time I've ever had, which I'm proud of. I think I beat my usual time by about 5 minutes. A huge shortcut at the end of the game really factors that. Oh, and about this run, this was originally going to be a single segment, but I ended up dying really late in the games, and this speedrun is actually 3 segments. One is from the beginning all the way to the Suit Samus section, and one is basically from the little Metal Gear sneaking section all the way to the very last save point, and then the last one is from that last save point into the end, because I really wanted to get the shortcut into the speedrun, so I just kept resetting until I got it. And it was actually the first time I made that shortcut. When we get there, I'll explain what the shortcut is. And now we're already here at Ridley. Pretty good time. Not bad at all. And the Ridley fight, this is probably the best Ridley fight I've had, to be honest. I usually really mess up badly during this fight. I just make so many weird mistakes. And I remember the first time I had a really unusual Ridley fight where I pretty much sat in the lava the whole time and just started pelting him with missiles, and I actually won that way, which is kind of funny. But this one went pretty well. I mean, at the beginning, just pretty much shoot all his fireballs and just start pelting him with missiles, basically, from here. And you can jump to avoid his tail. Not too big of a deal, and he's already dead. After 4 super missiles and about 40 missiles, you should go down pretty fast, and you've cleared Ridley before Kraid. And yeah, that's pretty much it for Ridley. I'm never coming back here again. So now I just have to get out, which isn't a problem at all. I just go back the way I came, except I have to freeze this guy. But now I can get back. But it really would have saved me some time if I made that jump, because I wouldn't have had to go back through here for the second time. I would have just went back again, grabbed the energy tank, and then just got out, basically. I don't think I actually needed that energy tank for Ridley. I'm not exactly sure if I did or not. Now, before I go straight to Kraid, I'm actually gonna go get the Varia Suit, because I'm not good at a lot of speedrunning tricks that a lot of players use. I mean, there's some really good players that speedrun this game. Like, there's, you know, tool assistant speedruns that have like beaten this game in like 22 minutes or something like that. And then there's guys that beat the game in real time with around like 30 to 40 minutes, and those guys are insane. And I'm probably never gonna get that good at this game at all. And from here, I always wondered what was up with that broken Chozo statue there. I'll have to look that up later. Now I'm going straight back up to Norfair. Basically, without the speed booster, all you need to do to get back up here is just be decent at wall jumping, which isn't really hard. I mean, there's a pretty long shaft. This isn't exactly the way we came, not through that long, that area where I was falling forever. We basically just go through here. And this speed booster will take you all the way back up to where you started, right near the ice beam area. And I really wish I had the speed booster here. I wouldn't have to navigate the whole top of this area. I would just run straight through. But don't get the speed booster till after you kill Kraid. And this is the place where a lot of players get stuck when they're trying to speedrun, because I think they need the speed booster to get through. But like I said, you just have to wall jump and then use that bomb launcher, and it'll launch you all the way back up. So now we're back in Brinstar, and I'm just gonna make a quick stop and get the Varia Suit. And the Varia Suit makes one mini boss in particular incredibly easy, because you pretty much got rid of like his entire advantage, which was sitting in the lava where you can't hit him. Because normally if you don't have the Varia Suit, you're just going to take too much damage when you sit in the lava. But with the Varia Suit, you can just pretty much chill in the lava and just sit there and pelt him with missiles while he tries to attack you, and there's really not much you can do about it. And you can see now, navigating is a lot easier with the high jump and the power grip. Don't have to make any unnecessary wall jumps or anything like that, and you can just jump straight up this entire area. Alright, Varia Suit. This part kinda scared me because you're gonna see that I actually almost die in this area, which is, it's kind of funny to watch, but really disappointing for me at the same time. But you'll see, yeah, right here, fell in the lava, really low on health right now. I don't die at all here, luckily. And this part's pretty disappointing when I'm trying to jump up and jump up to the ledge where the Varia Suit room is. Yeah, you can see I missed horribly. Just so bad. But I get up. I think this is, yeah. Oh, actually, no. I thought I would get up there, but I guess not. Alright, this jump, yeah, for sure. This is when I get up. And I actually almost died right there. If that enemy had hit me, I probably would have died. Okay, this part, when I first played this game, I was really confused about what to do. I saw these two, whatever these things that these bugs are eating. I saw those and I'm like, oh, I can't go in here, so I guess I'll just turn around. I never knew you had to wait, and just to wait for them to eat those things. Because I never knew at the time that they actually ate those, and when I finally found out, I was like, wow, all I had to do was wait patiently instead of just rushing. And you can see, I fell into the lava earlier again and almost died. Really bad. But I'm about to get all my health back. And we have the Varia Suit, which is the gravity suit and the Varia Suit. I really like the way the Varia Suit makes Samus look. I don't like the purple look that the gravity suit has. If you played Metroid Other M, I really like how they approach that, and basically, instead of making the gravity suit an entire new suit with a purple extension, the gravity suit was basically just a small extension of Samus' suit. So she just turned it on, and her suit looked exactly the same, except, you know, it altered gravity, so she wouldn't get sucked into space. And I really like how they did that. I don't like how the gravity suit in most games is purple. It does look fine, I just prefer this look for Samus, you know, just the traditional orange. And now we're getting out of this area. I really wish I could go back. There might be a way to just backtrack, but I don't think it's possible, so we had to go all the way around. And there's a small puzzle. You just use the bugs, make them eat this thing, and you can progress. And again, that really confused me before. I just had no idea you're supposed to do that. There's not really an indication or anything like that. You just kind of had to figure it out for yourself, which is pretty cool. I mean, this game really doesn't hold your hand. It doesn't like tell you, oh, this boss's his weak point is right here. And speaking of which, let's talk about Metroid Prime a bit, where you can scan your enemies. To me, that actually wasn't a big problem. They did tell you, like, not necessarily tell you exactly what his weakness was, but they kind of gave you a hint toward it. But at the same time, they didn't tell you exactly how to kill this enemy. Like, for example, the final boss, they did tell you that he changed colors, and depending on what color he was, you would have to use a certain power beam to shoot him. But they didn't necessarily say, oh, okay, he turns blue, use the ice beam. Because, I mean, that's pretty much common sense at that point. And even then, they don't tell you that you can use stuff like the missile combos with those beams to damage them even more. You kind of have to figure that out for yourself, which I really liked about that game. That game, Metroid Prime, to me, has some of the best bosses. And I hate to say it, but Other M has some really great bosses as well, which I don't hate Other M, but at the same time, I think it was kind of weak for a Metroid title. I mean, it wasn't a bad game, but for a Metroid game, it definitely didn't live up to the standard that we thought it would. I mean, when I saw the trailers for it, I thought it was going to be like a really big combination of Metroid Prime and the 2D Metroid games, just, you know, you're walking around in 3D. But in the end, it basically became... Basically, there was an action in this game called the Sense Move, where you just... I believe you tap the D-pad twice in one direction. I can't remember, it's been a while since I played Other M. But basically, you could just spam that the entire game and just smash A, and you would just basically be dodging all the enemies and, you know, shooting them at the same time. But you're basically untouchable because you got so much invincibility during that dodge move that it was just ridiculous. You didn't really have to... You know, you didn't really have to try to avoid enemies. You just had to mash that dodge move the entire time. It was still kind of fun, but I didn't really feel satisfied like beating a Metroid Prime game or, you know, Metroid Fusion or anything like that. And then it just wasn't that good of a Metroid game. And they gave Samus a voice actor, and to me, voice acting isn't necessarily bad as long as it's done well. In Other M's case, it just wasn't done well. Alright, I'm gonna take a break from that and talk about this boss. Now that I have the Varia Suit, I can just sit in the lava and pelt him with missiles. I just lure him out, and I hit him with missiles down here every time. And it just makes for a really quick boss. Quick, definitely easy. Yeah, he's already dead. Alright, moving on, back to Other M. Voice acting in games. I don't mind voice acting as long as the voice acting is actually done well. And in Other M's case, it just was not done well. And why? I think, no offense to Samus' voice actor, but I think Samus, her voice actor definitely needed to be different, because the voice actor in Other M just sounded a bit too monotone and kind of emotionless during the entire game. Which, what I don't get is, if you play Metroid Prime, I forgot exactly what her name is, but the voice actor of Naomi Hunter from Metal Gear and the female main character from Mass Effect series, she voiced Samus in Metroid Prime, and she's a she's an exceptional voice actor. She's a really good voice actor. One of my favorites, honestly. But, you know, in Metroid Prime, she didn't really have a voice. She just, you know, made a few sounds when she got hit. That was it. What I don't get is, why didn't they bring her back for Other M? She would have been the perfect voice actor for Samus. Especially for the type of game that Other M was trying to be. Because, you know, it was more about... The game was more about Samus as a character. And not necessarily, you know, Samus just being a complete badass throughout, you know, the entire series. Being the silent protagonist and, you know, just... killing all the Metroids and all the aliens. And I just don't know why they didn't get that voice actor back for Samus. They got someone new who just didn't do it as great as a job as the other one would have did, at least in my opinion. And Other M in general, there are just some things that really didn't make sense to me. Like, and this is a big one, and you probably knew I was going to bring it up, is, you know, about Other M, and it's Samus's encounter with Ridley during that game, where Samus actually suffers post-traumatic stress disorder, and Ridley is the space pirate that killed her parents. So, in Other M, for some reason, when she encounters Ridley, she's just completely frozen. Now, I know this is a symptom of post-traumatic stress disorder, but here's my problem with how that encounter was handled. Samus has fought Ridley about 6 times before this point, and she didn't even as much as flinch when she destroyed Ridley. And it just doesn't make sense for, after all these times, she just kind of randomly, you know, has a breakdown. And just, she can't even move. She's just completely frozen on the spot. I would have really understood it more. And, you know, it really would have made more sense if this was her first encounter with Ridley after Ridley killed her parents and, you know, she had a breakdown. But here, I don't know, it just kind of doesn't make sense. It just seems like bad writing to me. Alright, now we have an incredibly huge boss. It must take forever to kill. Yep, it's already dead. Super missiles destroy Kraid. And it's just kind of disappointing because Kraid is such a cool boss to me. I was really excited the first time I fought it. I was just like, wow, this thing is huge. And when you killed it, you're just like, wow, you actually managed to kill that thing. And now we get my favorite power-up in the Metroid series, the Speed Booster. I just really love this power-up. I just really love the sense of speed that you get when you're using it. As corny as that sounds. And of course there's Shine Sparking, which is really fun, and you see a pretty decent one right here. And here's a small trick I used to get through the top room a bit easier. Just go in this room, pick up some speed, and Shine Spark straight into this room. You go straight to the other side. Okay, this part kind of scared me because I couldn't see Samus at all, and I thought I was stuck, and I couldn't get out, but I managed to make it through. So now that we've killed Ridley and Kraid already, we can go straight to Mother Brain. And I hate fighting Mother Brain in this game. I'm sorry, but I'm still terrible at that fight, and you'll notice it during this playthrough when I get there. But now I'm going straight to Mother Brain. I'm not gonna get the wave beam or the screw attack like I said earlier, which I really like the screw attack, but for the sake of this, you know, sort of speedy playthrough, I'm not gonna get it. And the energy tank in this room, I decided to just skip it in this run. Normally I actually get the energy tank that's hidden in the ceiling in the previous room, but I just, I don't really need it. So I just skip it. And it does save me a little bit of time. I guess a few seconds. Okay, back to Other M. Samus just freezes on the spot when she encounters Ridley after before she was just fine, and I don't really get it. I just really don't get why she suddenly just freezes on the spot after she's defeated Ridley just effortlessly during all of her other encounters with him. It just doesn't make sense to me. I'm sorry. I mean, Other M, like I said, it's not a bad game. It just has some moments that just really don't make sense, and the gameplay isn't really that great to me. And a lot of you know Metroid Other M, the gameplay was made by Team Ninja, which actually kinda had me excited because I played, the first two Ninja Gaidens, and I really like those games. Pretty difficult games, but they just didn't handle a Metroid game like I thought they would. But that style of gameplay, I think it does have a little bit of potential. They just really need to work on it. The whole third-person 3D adventure. I really think they can pull it off. They just need to handle it differently if they try it in another game. Alright, the Metroid's here. I was so disappointed with this part because I just did so bad against the Metroids here in certain areas, especially the later areas. I don't know what happened. Like here, I get. Oh my god! I just can't stand this part. I don't know what was up. I just kept getting hit by the Metroids. That's really all I can say. I'm sorry. I'm getting lost for words. I just can't really believe that all of this kind of happened randomly. Yeah, like right here, Metroid just randomly latches onto me. I thought I shot it, but I guess not. And I forgot what these little enemies are called, the little light ball things. I really hate these things. So, I just hate them so much. I think they were in Metroid Other M also, but I don't think they were that bad. But in this game, I seriously cannot stand them. Especially during the Mother Brain fight. The turrets and these things are just so irritating. Yep, there we go. Another Metroid eats me. Well, tries to eat me. And I had a little retarded moment there. I thought I was shooting the Metroid the whole time, but I was actually missing. And yeah, right there. Just really messing up badly. This is probably another bad part of the speedrun. With the exception of the after I got the power grip when I was trying to wall jump. Now, I think the best parts of the speedrun are probably it's probably Kraid and the very ending. The very end where I take that huge shortcut. And the worst is probably the power grip in this part right here. Alright, so I believe that's the last Metroid that you had to kill. And I find it kind of funny that if you're good, you can actually skip the ice beam in this game, but you still need the ice beam to beat the game. So that's kind of disappointing, but oh well. Alright, so we're getting pretty close to Mother Brain. I'm gonna destroy the first two barriers before I fight her. Now I'm gonna basically shoot these things for a while until I recharge my missiles. Alright, so what else is there for me to talk about? More about Other M. I really thought it was interesting how they explored more of the story of Alchem Malkovich, because I really wanted to know who he was after playing Metroid Fusion. Because you're like, wow, Adam must have been a guy that Samus really just respected. And then you kind of get to see more backstory about that. And that was interesting about Other M. And you get to see how he died. Because, you know, if you play Fusion, you already know that he's dead. I mean, they pretty much state that near the beginning of the game. And, one thing, this is the thing that really pissed me off about Other M, is the way that Samus got her abilities. At the beginning of the game, Samus has all her abilities. But then when she meets up with Adam and the rest of the Galactic Federation, Adam basically says, okay, I don't want you to cause too much damage to the ship, so I'm going to need you to turn off, you know, like your power bombs, your super missiles, even your normal missiles, and that's how you lose your abilities. Your entire suit is finished in this game, but you can't use them because Adam doesn't tell you to. Now, I can understand this. I mean, Samus, you know, her power bombs, you know, super missiles, all that good stuff, she can cause a lot of damage. But here's what I don't understand. Why did Adam make her turn off stuff like the Varia Suit, the Gravity Suit, the grappling hook? I mean, these just small things that don't make any sense. I mean, the Gravity Suit and the Varia Suit, all they do is help protect Samus. They don't cause, like, there's no threat whatsoever. Absolutely none. I can understand power bombs because those things are just devastating, but the Gravity Suit, the grappling hook, the Varia Suit, I mean, just why? Why did we have to turn these abilities off? And the thing that pissed me off the most, and you probably heard this in a lot of videos or reviews of Other M, was how you were able to get the Varia Suit back. Adam tells you to travel through a sector which is basically extremely hot. It's pretty much a volcano. And you don't have the Varia Suit on, so it's like, okay, maybe Adam will tell you to turn on the Varia Suit. And he doesn't. You're basically walking through this volcano, and your health is constantly draining because Adam hasn't told you to turn on the Varia Suit yet. So after you pretty much nearly die, and you're walking through this area for about 10 minutes, Adam is basically like, he just says, oh yeah, Samus, maybe you should turn on your Varia Suit now. I literally just facepalmed when that happened. I was like, are you kidding me? After all this, you only now tell me to turn on the Varia Suit? I mean, after I pretty much just nearly died, you tell me to turn on the Varia Suit. I mean, really? It's just, why? Stuff like that just really annoyed me about Other M. I can understand her respect for Adam and, you know, following his orders and all that, but oh my god. Well, back to the speedrun. You saw my horrible mother brain boss. Now you see what I mean about how terrible I am at fighting mother brain. Just really bad. And this part coming up is pretty cool though, when during the escape here. Alright, I build up enough speed, get the speed booster, jump, land right in the ship. Perfect timing. And I have beaten Metroid Zero mission. Yep, that's the end of the speedrun. Yeah, obviously I'm joking. If this is the original Metroid, then that would be the end of the game right there, but this is the remake. Alright, so yeah. In Metroid Zero mission, after you kill Mother Brain, your ship gets shot down on the way out by space pirates, and Samus loses her suit in the process. I guess when she crashed, she lost her suit somehow. And all I have is a pretty much useless pistol. Samus is still practically a ninja, and she can still jump extremely high, wall jump, and do all of that stuff. She just doesn't have her missiles and all that good stuff. She has a weak pistol, and all the pistol does is, if it's fully charged, it stuns an enemy for about 3 seconds, 2 or 3 seconds. Now, I really like this part of the game. It's pretty intense, because you're basically just sneaking through the space pirate ship, and you're pretty much defenseless. It kind of feels like a game like Metal Gear, you know, side-scrolling sneaking. Metal Gear or Splinter Cell, you know, any of those kind of stealth-based games. And this is where the first segment ends, because I ended up dying a lot during Crateria, or Chozodia? I think this is Chozodia, not Crateria, my bad. But I'm not really good at this part, so I had to record it a bunch of times until I got it all right. But I'm not sure if it's possible to even sneak past that first guard. It seems like he always turns around and sees you. But, oh well. Doesn't ruin the playthrough or anything. And this part here, I usually always trip the alarm. I never make the jump. But no big deal. Samus is pretty quick. She can run through this area pretty quick, right past all the space pirates. And I think I should stop talking about Metroid Other M. I think I've talked about that enough in this video. So, what else should I talk about? Metroid Prime 2. I'm currently playing through that game right now. Sometimes I like the game. I really like Metroid Prime 2. I think the first one, though, is definitely a better game. But I think that's only because the first time you play it, it just has that huge wow factor. But, Metroid Prime 2 is definitely a good game. It's a lot harder than the first. Definitely a lot harder. But, at the same time, it just kind of seems like the difficulty is kind of there. But I like it, though. I really like that game. What I really like about Metroid Prime 2, though, is I think some of the boss battles are great. I think the only major boss I fought so far was that giant worm after the first Dark Temple, the three-headed worm. That was actually a pretty cool fight. But oh my god, the Boost Guardian. That thing, oh my god, the Boost Guardian is so bad. I mean, it's not a bad boss, that's not what I mean. It's just the most difficult, like, mini-boss that I've fought so far in the game. And I've heard it's, like, one of the hardest bosses in the game in general. I don't know what's up with that boss, the Boost Guardian. Oh my god. Okay, the very beginning of that fight, I was just trying to figure out how to kill the thing, because I didn't know what I was doing. But then, even when you know how to kill it, it gets even worse, because it has a lot of... I don't think it was a lot of phases, it just took forever to kill. And I'm playing the game on the Wii, and apparently they actually dumbed down the difficulty for that boss fight. So I would really hate to know what the Boost Guardian was like on the GameCube version of Metroid Prime. That boss is just really irritating. I can't really stress that enough. But so far my favorite boss, though, has been the Dark Samus encounter. That was a really cool boss battle, especially the cutscene before it. It just gave you the sense of urgency, and you know, the music for that fight is pretty cool too. But I hear you fight Dark Samus about 3 times, so I'm looking forward to the rest of the Dark Samus fights. Alright, I need a new topic, and I think my channel is a good one to talk about. I might do some Let's Plays down the road. I mean, this pretty much is a Let's Play, right here, but I might do more down the road of more games, like maybe more old games, then maybe some new games. I really wish I did a Let's Play of Dark Souls the first time I played it. That would have been really, that would have been interesting, but I didn't really have a good mic back then, so it would have been pretty bad. Honestly, the mic I'm using right now is just the Turtle Beach headset for the Xbox. Just a standard mic, basically. Not really anything made for commentary. But not too bad. And here, I basically run around in circles because I forgot that you're supposed to shoot the wall here. But, oh well. I get through this part later on. I always forget about that though, that little wall that you're supposed to shoot out. But this part in particular, this whole Zero Suit Samus part, I like this part, but at the same time, it's just kind of annoying later on because I think it's after this little save, the save room I just skipped. Some of the parts just really get ridiculous when you're running away from the space pirates. And here, I checked the alarm on purpose because it's a little bit faster. But a pretty long chase starts here. And I almost make a pretty big mistake also. This part is pretty dangerous. I actually almost died right here. Alright, this is the part where I make a mistake. I was supposed to go down to the bottom and stun the guard, but he followed me into the shaft, and I thought I was done here. Because normally that's my strategy for this part. I stun the guard, then go into that vent. He doesn't find me, the alert goes off. But now these guys are still following me here because I didn't do that. But luckily, I actually somehow managed to escape by very quick wall jumping, which is why I'm very glad that I got a lot better at wall jumping during this playthrough. And you can see the alarm just went off and the door's open. Alright, so I get my energy back and I'm ready to get my power suit back also. And this boss coming up, not necessarily a hard boss, but it can get pretty irritating because the last phase of the boss, you have to be very careful with your shots. And like, this is basically the Chozo ruins, and basically shows that the Chozo raised Samus as a child. I mean, they weren't necessarily her parents, but after her parents were killed, I believe she was raised by the Chozo, and that's how she got her power suit. They go into a lot of detail in Metroid Prime about the Chozo race and how they raised Samus and how she was basically like the prophesized child that would, you know, save the galaxy, basically. That was a really cool part about Metroid Prime, is you scanned all those Chozo artifacts and you read up about it, and you basically realized that, hey, Samus basically is prophesized to save the galaxy. I mean, I really like how they went about that, because that's completely optional. I mean, scanning is completely optional. Well, not throughout the whole game, but scanning like those logs and stuff is completely optional. But when you do it, that's basically your reward. You learn pretty much the entire story of the game. Alright, and now I've got my power suit back. And all those guys that I had to sneak past, I can just destroy them now. Probably the best part of the game. Especially if you play this for the first time and you're having a lot of trouble sneaking past everything. You're just like, okay, I just snuck past this guy, but now I just get to shoot him right in the face. So we're pretty much nearing the end of the game now. And here you can see what I was talking about, how the gravity suit is purple. Not bad, but I just prefer how other M did it. Oh, and here is probably the hardest power-up to get in the Metroid Zero, the Metroid series. I was gonna say Metroid Zero mission, but I think it's the hardest power-up to get in general. It's not that super missile, but it's it involves speed boosting down that little walkway right there. And I've actually gotten it before. It's a really good power-up to get. It's just an energy tank, but after you actually get it, you just feel really accomplished because you know that that was probably one of the hardest power-ups to get in the game. You just need to be really good with the speed booster. And you see, I don't have screw attack, so I can't just jump straight through those blocks right there. I have to take a little alternate path. Now that I have the gravity suit, nothing, practically, like no liquid form will kill me. Yeah, and that's pretty good. And that power-up was just not in the way, so I went ahead and got it. Alright, so we're very close to the ending here. I think I've talked about pretty much everything that I want to talk about. And I guess I'll talk about more of the future of my channel. And more, besides Let's Plays, I'm probably going to do a lot more speedrunning type videos that I do, like the Metal Gear ones, where I go through the VR missions as quickly as I can. And new games coming out. I haven't really been interested in that many new games lately. I think the latest game I got was Mass Effect 3, and to be honest, I was kind of disappointed in it. Not necessarily because of the ending, though that is one of the reasons. I mean, I really liked that game because of pretty much, you know, all the choices you made were pretty big, even though the choices pretty much were screwed over in the ending, because no matter what you did, the ending was just terrible. But a few things I didn't like about it were I missed Mass Effect 1 is probably my favorite Mass Effect in the entire series because it just felt so new the first time we played it, and I think that was the most RPG style game of the series. Mass Effect 2 was when the game started going more into action, and Mass Effect 3, I think it was more RPG oriented than the second one, but at the same time it just didn't come to the level that the first game did. But that's the latest game I got. And I got Skullgirls. That's a really good game too. It's a really good fighter. I might upload a few matches of that game. So expect that in the future, possibly. I'm not really that great at the game yet. I mean, the game is new, but I haven't really played it that much. All I really do is jump into practice mode occasionally, and you know, try to figure out new combos with a few characters. I think some of my really good characters right now are Parasol and Cerebella, and my Peacock is pretty annoying too. I mean, she's a really annoying, probably the most annoying zoning character I've seen in a fighting game. I mean, she really is that annoying to me. I mean, I've played as her, and I've actually fought against her, and I can see how annoying she really is. But, yeah, Skullgirls is a really good game. And even if you aren't a fan of fighters, you probably should check it out, because Skullgirls has probably the best tutorial I've ever seen in a fighting game. And I'm not kidding when I say that. That game will literally teaches you, like, the fundamentals. It doesn't just teach you, oh, okay, press X to do high punch and A to do low punch, and yeah, you can just go from there. No, it teaches you, like, the fundamentals of a fighting game. It teaches you about mix-ups, it teaches you about you know, blocking high, blocking low, and like predicting mix-ups, and it teaches you how to do mix-ups yourself. And it tells you, like, I mean, it just tells you all these fundamentals of fighting games that, you know, even pro players use, and it's just really great. I mean, you're practically, you're learning how to play pretty practically any fighting game if you're doing tutorials for Skullgirls, because it's just so comprehensive. It teaches you everything you need to know. So if you're a complete novice of fighting games, I would say Skullgirls is an excellent place to start, just because of the tutorial. Now, I'm not gonna say as soon as you do the tutorials on Skullgirls, you're gonna be a pro, you know, fighting game player. That's not what I'm trying to say at all, but I really think that if you picked up Skullgirls and just went through the tutorial, you'd have a better grasp on fighting games than any other game. Because if you play a game like Marvel vs. Capcom 3, there's all they really have in that game is mission mode, and that just teaches you how to do combos. And while that's not necessarily a bad thing, I mean, there's nothing wrong with teaching you combos, but doing combos in practice mode and fighting in a real match are two completely different things. I mean, when I play Marvel vs. Capcom 3, I can do a lot of pretty big combos in practice mode, but that doesn't make me a great player, because while I can do these combos, you still have to learn to apply them into a real match. And that's not as simple as it sounds. You can't just do a combo in practice mode and expect to be amazing because you know this amazing combo. It just doesn't work that way. You have to learn how to apply that to a match, and basically you have to defend yourself. Practice mode, just sitting in practice mode doesn't necessarily teach you how to defend yourself. I mean, you have to learn how to block, and you've got to learn how to predict mix-ups. You've got to learn how to do all that stuff. I mean, just sitting in practice mode all day and doing all these combos, you are getting better. You're getting more consistent at your combos, but that's all you're doing. You're not learning how to do pretty much every other fundamental in a fighting game. So, alright, enough about that. Other games. I'm probably going to pick up Max Payne 3 when that comes out, because I was a big fan of the first two Max Paynes. I had those back on PS2 back in the day. Those are really fun games. The third one looks a lot different than those two, but I'm honestly getting that game for the single player, not necessarily the multiplayer. Nothing wrong with the multiplayer, but I'm getting it for the single player. I'll play the multiplayer though. The multiplayer definitely looks fun, but primary focus on that game for me is going to be single player. Alright, so any other games? Oh yeah, I'm gonna use this time to talk about some 2011. 2011 was probably one of the greatest years for video games in my opinion. There were so many good games that came out that year. You got Batman Arkham City, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, Sonic Generations, which is a very good Sonic game. Let's see, what else is there? Battlefield 3. While I'm not too big of a shooter fan, I thought Battlefield 3 was a very, very nice change of pace. It was a really, really strategic shooter in the end. But it did have its problems, and it still does even after the patches and stuff. But I still prefer it over Call of Duty, and I don't hate Call of Duty, but it's not really my type of game anymore. I can't really say much because, you know, I played pretty much all of them. So I can't really say Call of Duty is like a horrible series. And I mean, it's the best-selling series out there. I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean it's the best game out there. Definitely not, but it does have its following. Alright, other good games out there that came out in 2011. Catherine. Catherine is probably my second favorite game of 2011. That was just a really good game. And if you haven't, if you're interested, you can check out my Catherine playthrough on my channel. But Catherine, what is there not to say about that game? It was just so different. I mean, when you play Catherine, it's not necessarily a game like, you know, a modern shooter or anything where it's just, you know, epic boss fights or anything like that. Catherine approaches a real life situation, and it's something that can actually happen. And that to me is what makes that game good, because it makes you in your mind, you really think about what's gonna and it just really makes you think about the situation that happens. I don't really want to spoil too much. And looking back on the playthrough right now, you can see I took that amazing speed booster shortcut, which saved me so much time. And I'm really happy because that's the first time I've actually done that shortcut in a real run. These space pirates right here really messed me up, but I managed to kill them using this little exploit. But my favorite game of 2011 by far is Dark Souls. That Dark Souls is just a phenomenal game, guys. If you haven't played it, I really think you should at least give it a chance. It might not be for everyone, but if it is your type of game, you will love Dark Souls. That's all I can really say. Dark Souls is just a really good game for the audience that it caters to. I mean, I wouldn't say that the only main draw of Dark Souls is the difficulty. That's not necessarily the only draw of the game. And I really don't think you should buy the game just because it's a really difficult game. Again, just like I said many times before, the experience itself is just really worth it. And yeah, that's pretty much this video. I actually beat my old time. You're about to see it in a bit after the credits are done. And that was a really fun playthrough for me. Probably the best playthrough I've done throughout this game. Now, back to Dark Souls though. Just, if you have an Xbox or a PS3 and you haven't played Dark Souls yet, then just give it a chance, you know, see if you like it. If you don't, then, yeah, I mean, that's cool if you don't like it. But it's just a really cool game, guys. I can't really stress it enough. Just go pick the game up and see if you like it. The community on Dark Souls is actually, you know, a pretty cool community too. If you paid attention to YouTube videos or maybe message boards for Dark Souls, it's a pretty tight community, and people are making you know, their own sort of challenges for the game. So you should really check that out if you're into that sort of thing. There's challenges like clearing the game without leveling up at all, and you know, using your starting gear and class weapons. I mean, you can upgrade your weapons, but you can't use different weapons or different armor than the stuff that you start with. And that's a really interesting challenge. Actually, it's probably one of the hardest challenges out there. But yeah, Dark Souls and Catherine, best games of 2011, hands down. At least in my opinion. So definitely check those out. And if you've actually sat down and watched this entire video, then you're great. I mean, thanks for sitting here and just, you know, watching me just ramble on for pretty much an hour. And all this audio was recorded in one take, so you're gonna notice, you probably noticed, you know, me stuttering and all that, but hopefully it's not that big of a deal. Alright, so that's pretty much the end of this video. So thanks for watching, and here's my time. I believe it was 53 minutes. My record before, I believe, was 57 minutes. Alright, let's see. Yep, 53 minutes, barely. It was almost 54. and 37% items. So yeah, not bad. Alright, thanks for watching, and see you next video.